It took electricity 50 years to get 50 million users. Radio, 38. TV, 13 years. Internet, 4 years. The iPod, 3 years. And Facebook, only 2 years to get 50 million users worldwide. Another statistic. Products have, like people, a life cycle. They're born, they grow, they saturate, and they decline. Now, the last 50 years, this life cycle has diminished with a factor of 4. Cosmetics had a shorter cycle, and it's down from 8 years until 2 years. The longest cycle were pharmaceutical products. They had a life cycle 50 years ago of 24 years, and they are now down to 8 years. And now the bad news. I'm sorry that I have to bring you the bad news. In your companies, on average, 6 out of 7 innovation projects never reach the market. They die before they are introduced because of a lack of support, a lack of attractiveness to your customer, or a lack of feasibility. Mind you, in your companies, a lot of resources are waste. And the first is not to accept this ratio. Try to do it better. Why can't we double the ratio and do it much more better? Now, if I combine these facts, there's only one conclusion. Innovation is more essential than ever, and it is very risky. Now, first of all, what is an innovation? I could give you a very complicated scientific definition, but I will not. For me, I write innovation with a big N. The N of new. Doing new things. That's innovation. Now that's totally different than improvement, right? I know lean is very popular in Turkey, improvement is very popular, but improvement is natural. If you make a mistake today, you won't make the same mistake tomorrow. My teenage daughter would say, duh, of course you improve, right? But when improvement doesn't work anymore, you have to do something else, and that's innovation. Now, it can be new to the company, that's a good start, but to be really innovative, you have to be new to the market, at least, to add new value, or even new to the world, but that's a big dream of everybody, right? So innovation is doing something new, something different, which is new to the market you choose. Now, there is continuous improvement, but you can't continually innovate. You will go broke within 3 years. Why? Because you have to earn your money. And if 6 out of 7 projects fail continuously, you will be broke, right? So if you can earn your money in an easy way, continue with it. But there comes a moment when you have to innovate. So innovation is discontinuous. And I like to tell the quote of Mr. Norbert Reithofer. He is the German president of the BMW group, of the cars. And he was interviewed and he was asked the question on why does BMW put hundreds of millions in electrical cars? The development of the i3 and the i8. And his answer was, because doing nothing is a bigger risk. So, thank you. Everybody in this room will say we like to innovate, but you postpone it until you have to. And that's okay, right? So, when do you get outside your comfort zone? When present things doesn't work anymore. I'll come back to that later. Now here you are then, as innovation manager of a company, this is you, on a beautiful Mount Ore here in Turkey, right? And you got the assignment, you have to innovate our company. Well, then you're faced with a lot of challenges. First of all, we don't know where we want to go, right? If I stand here, I want to innovate. Where do I go? There, or there, or there? Whoa, do something different. Yeah, but which step do I have to make first? The second thing is we don't know what's relevant for our customers. The third thing is, oh yeah, we are completely stuck in our habits. You know how we call our habits in companies? We call it operational excellence. That's how you make your profits today. That it's operational excellence. And it's fine. But it's a prison with a golden cage, right? So stuck in our habits, that's great, except when you need to do new things. We don't have a culture for innovation. Well, you can grow it, but it only grows, very slowly, person by person. And if you're working in a big company, you need a lot of them to become really innovative. And the last one, it's so hard to get internal support, especially in a big company. Well, there's one lesson I'd like to tell you, and that is innovation doesn't stop at the first no. That is the moment it really starts, right? Then you have to show persistency. Now, companies say they want to be innovative, and you need a kind of structure for it. Now, this is called the stage gate process. It's developed by a Canadian 30 years ago. So how do we come from idea to implementation? Innovation is a long journey. On average, it takes a service 18 months to get from idea to implementation in the market. And for products, it's a bit longer. It's on average 35 years. But if you are in medicine or high technology, it can be 15 years, okay? So there are big differences per sector here. Now, this innovation process has only two problems: the front end and the back end. In my profession, they call the front end the fuzzy front end, like the weather this morning here in Istanbul, right? It was rather fuzzy, misty. So where do those great ideas come from then? That's the fuzzy front end. And then when you know what you want to get it out on the market fast. But it's sticky, like gum under your shoe, right? Get it out on the market fast. Yeah, but we can't make it. It's not good enough. And so on the one hand, you got the fuzzy front end, and on the back end, you got the sticky back end. Now, I like to talk to you about the front end. How can we come up with great ideas? Now, this process is long, and in a company, a lot of people are involved, and you have to go through every gate here. Next gate, make a proposal. Next gate, another proposal, another group, another steering committee. You have to push it all through the funnel. And that makes the most innovative people very frustrated, right? This is me. When I was working in children's candy or in soups, right? Another boss who said no. It really makes you tired. Actually, what big companies do, they push their most innovative people outside, right? Because they're so frustrated after a lot of time. And they all going to do great startups, where they're the boss their own and they can at last do what they want. I think the challenge for bigger companies is to keep them on board and to create a culture of innovation yourself. That's the challenge. Now, you must know I am a great travel book reader. I love it. And when I was making the presentation, I was also reading a travel book. And this travel book was an advertisement in the London newspaper in 1913. It was an advertisement where Shackleton, who wanted to go to Antarctica, wanted to recruit his men. And I will show you the advertisement. So this is original. Men wanted for hazardous journey, small wages, bitter cold, long months of complete darkness. Safe return doubtful. Uh-oh. Honor and recognition only in case of success. In my opinion, this is the first advertisement for an innovation director 100 years ago. Right? Innovation is very risky. Now, seeing this advertisement, I thought, wow, I reread all my Explorer books. And I thought, what can we learn from all those expeditions from the past? And I'd like to share some lessons with you. Now, this is the street of Magellan. Is that good Turkish, Magellan? Yeah? It's on the south of South America, right? The Street of Magellan. The interesting question here is, why did Magellan sail west? So here we are at the end of the 1400s. Everybody took the route to the Spice Islands because there they want to go for all the rich spices. And Magellan went west. Why? Well, the answer is simple. Then neither Turkey nor the Netherlands were world powers on the sea. It was Spain versus Portugal. And they beat each other's head in. It was very bloody, right? And, who could help us? Well, they were both Catholics, so they went to the Pope. And the Pope said, well, I like to end this shit between you, He took a liner and drew a line over the world along the Canary Islands. And he said, everything east of the Canary Islands is for Portugal, and the sea to the west of the Canary Islands were for Spain. Now, there was nothing on the western side of the Canary Islands yet, right? So why did Magellan sail west? Because he had to. Because Queen Isabella of Castile wanted also the spices that the Portuguese got, right? So explorers from the past did sail for a profit too. But you only go over your boundaries when you have to. Now the lesson learned here is pick the right moment to innovate. You can only launch an idea once for the first time. If the company is like this and you're very, very busy, and the production is 105%, the logistics are crazy, you should not innovate. Manage the operation. But once you feel, there goes the revenue. Well, we predict they're going a bit down. That's the moment to innovate. Right? Otherwise, everybody's way too busy with business as usual. So pick your right moment. Everybody will say, yeah, we innovate continuously, and that's bullshit. They won't. Right? Why not? So let me ask you a question. Will you help me? Who of you likes to innovate? Please raise your hands. Who of you like to innovate? Come on, let me see those hands. Okay. Who of you like to run a risk? No, you're not. Give me your money then. Come on. You're not, So you like to innovate, but you don't like to run any risk, right? So you only will innovate when doing nothing is a bigger risk. Now, keep that in mind. Now, these three guys. Collins, Aldrin, and Armstrong. I was 9 when Armstrong landed on the moon. On a black TV screen, I saw this move and in the middle of the night, right? It's a wonderful experience. Now, why did Apollo house a crew of 3? The Russians did it with only 1 person. Well, they housed a crew of 3 because with 3 persons you can share more in-depth knowledge, and you know more with 3. Actually, there were 6 of them. They trained 2 teams at the same time, because if Armstrong would get a flu, he would be replaced the morning of the launch. Right? Now, what is the wise lesson here for us? Well, you can invent alone, but you can't innovate alone. You can get an idea. The inventor alone in his garage gets an idea, but you can't innovate alone. You need everybody in your company. Of course, R&D, but also marketing, production, buying, logistics, sales, services, IT. If it don't fit into SAP, you can't invoice it, right? So it must fit into SAP. Right? Finance, and then there are all the bosses. With every respect to all the bosses here in the front row, you always have to, but, So there's the country manager, the business unit director, the CFO and the CAO. They all are involved in innovation, right? Now, this is a map of Henricus Martellus, a German cartographer. He showed it to Isabella de Castilla, and Columbus did show this to Isabella de Castilla. And why did she say yes to Columbus, who was the first one who sailed west? Why? Well, Columbus said, look, at the moment everybody goes around Africa, the long road to the east, to the Spice Islands. And I see another route. There's a route on the west. Why don't we go there from Spain, here, to the other side then, and that's much shorter, he thought. But some continents are missing here, right? We're missing America, we didn't discover it yet, and Australia neither. Now, Isabel de Castilla said yes because Columbus had a plan. He had a map. Right? And that's an important lesson for us. Now, this is a field of snow. Where would you walk? On the path, of course. Right? Now, you say you are in innovation, but actually you are not. You're actually in the business of uncertainty. And you're actually in the business of reducing uncertainty. At the start of innovation, you have 100% uncertainty that it's a good idea. And what you try to do in your R&D and development process and to make it more likely that it will be a success. That's what you do. So the main question is, how can we reduce the uncertainty that this will be another failure? That's the main question which you should manage, right? And a path reduces uncertainty. So when you're going to innovate, show a path, right? Then will people trust you, and you can lead them along the way. Now we come to a story of my favorite explorer, that's Amundsen. Amundsen versus Scott, 1911, race for Antarctica. Scott was a really British officer, like British officers can be in the army, right? And they take their horses and hounds and their tractors, and he went for the South Pole, as did Amundsen. Now, Amundsen brought dogs to the South Pole, and sledges. And Scott took ponies to the South Pole, and the first tractors. Now, the first tractors were broken within 3 days on the South Pole. Now, on the South Pole, there are a lot of snow bridges, and when you go over there with a pony and a cart with all the stuff in it, the pony falls in, and the cart goes down with it, right? And what do ponies eat? Grass. How much grass is there on the South Pole? Nothing. All the ponies died within 2 weeks. Now, Amundsen took dogs. Now, you got a sledge with 13 dogs, and the first dog falls into the snow bridge. What do the other dogs do? They pull it back, right? And you save the cart, and the dogs. And what do dogs eat? Meat. And what are dogs made of? Meat. So Amundsen left with 52 dogs and 4 sledges, and he returned with 1 sledge and 13 healthy dogs. He fed the weaker dogs to keep the strong dogs strong. Right? And that's clever. Now, how come that Amundsen did this? Amundsen was 2 years before he went to Antarctica. He discovered the Northwest Passage along Canada, and he lived with the Inuit for a year. And there he observed and learned how the Inuit used their dogs. Right? Now, what is the lesson here for us innovators when you're going to new markets and new countries? You should observe and learn first before you do things. Observe the market, talk to customers, be there, learn, Then ideate and come with new solutions for them. Mount Everest, 8,848 meters high, 1953. British expedition. The interesting question is, why was Mallory and a Sherpa on top first? Now, Hillary wasn't English. He was New Zealand. Why would the English would put a New Zealander on top first? Well, they didn't want to. So Hillary and the Nepalese Sherpa, they were the second top team. The first top team were two Englishmen, of course. And they went up to 100 meters, and then they failed because their oxygen masks were frozen. And in the second top team, Hillary and the Sherpa got up there. They could move quicker because there was already a path, and they climbed what we now know as the Hillary steps, and they went on the top. Now, what is the interesting lesson learned here for innovation? Well, never bet on one horse. If you have a challenge and there's a high failure rate, always work on multiple ideas at the same time. Don't bet on one idea, because if that's all you got to stick to it and you will fail definitely, right? So you work on 3 alternatives at the same time, always, because the failure rate is high. So, how do you start that innovation the expedition way? That's a good question. Because in this room yesterday and this morning, everybody had, we need to innovate, but the question is, how? That's the question. So I'd like to help you with it. Now, you know all this map, right? So, Turkey has a great historical influence on map making. So this is the map of Piri Reis. Do I pronounce it right? Yeah? Piri Reis. Yes? He was an Ottoman admiral, a seafarer and a cartographer. So his first world map was from 1513. Right? And it was a great historical value because he used all the data from the maps of Columbus, who were later destroyed. So thanks to him, we know where Columbus has been. Right? And in the tradition of Piri Reis, I like to help you to start innovation with a map. Okay? Now, here's the map. You first draw, so what's, a couple of islands, and you also draw a kind of obstacles in there. Right? If you look here at the obstacles, right, you see the busy escape harbor. Not too busy to innovate. Or the customers are scary cliffs, right? Or my boss won't let me island, right? All the failed brainstorm wrecks, right? You see, it's now a never current. Are we creative enough? You see the not invented here cliffs, or the can we do it mist. So all those things are there for everybody. Don't hide it for him. Okay, that's all there. Now then you have to name the islands. So the islands are named full steam ahead, observe and learn, raise ideas, and then test ideas and homecoming. Everybody talks about we have to get great outside-the-box ideas. That's a great way to start. But that's only half the journey. Because you will find an unusual solution. Something which is crazy. People will laugh. Now, they say they want new ideas, but they don't want new ideas. You want new business, right? So that means when you're going from full steam ahead, observant to raise ideas, that you don't have to bring back ideas. You must bring back new business. And you must bring back business cases. You got only one chance to present your idea the first time, so you must answer all the questions. Otherwise, all the buts, there goes the energy and your idea is dead. Now, along the islands, there are workshops, right? You see here 15 workshops. And you see a timetable over there. Well, I'm Dutch, we like to structure everything, right? So this is also structured. And it's disciplined. You need to have discipline, because otherwise the business as usual will take over after one workshop. No, this is a commitment for 3 months, right? This is a 20-week journey. It's always planned, and you always will go to the end. And then there is the CFO. Are there any CFOs in the room here? Yeah, oh, good. The CFO always asks, and what are the deliverables? Well, here are the deliverables, right? The black dots. Per island, yes, these are the deliverables, okay? And at the end of this journey, which is called FORTH, it's an acronym. So the F of full steam ahead, the O of observe and learn, the R of raise ideas, the T of test ideas, and the H of homecoming. So it's a concrete journey in the form of a map. It's a one-pager. Now, let me explain you more per island. Full steam ahead. The first thing is, what is the innovation assignment? When I was so much younger in the company, they said, Gijs, go out and innovate. And I came back with an idea. And then my boss said, well, no, it is way too small. I'm looking for something revolutionary. And I thought, why haven't you told me? And then I went out back and came out with something else. He said, no, this is not suited. I said, why not? Because it has to be produced on line number 3 in our production facility. And I thought, why haven't you told me? Right? So you must start with an assignment. Not what to bring back, but what are the criteria your company measures the innovations to? How much millions do we have to bring back? Is it an idea for 5 million or for 10 million or for 15 million? How much EBITDA must it bring? Do you have to make it on our own machines or not? When do the ideas have to be operational? Are we looking for revolutionary ideas in 2023 or looking for quick wins in 2016? All important questions. So find out before you start, even if you're a very enthusiast. Now the second thing is, who should be on this journey? Now, just a quick question. Who of you has children? Also in the back, children there? Yeah, okay. Now, who of you likes his children? That's good news for your children, right? Okay. Who of you loves your children? In the back also? Fingers? Okay. Now another question. Who of you has neighbors with children? Neighbors with children, yes? Now, do you like the children of your neighbors? Oh. Do you love the children of your neighbors? Oh, come on, I don't believe you. The only difference between your child and the child of the neighbor is that your child is yours. That's the only difference, right? It is the same with ideas. The only reason your idea is better because it's yours. Now this is interesting. You can only innovate together in the big company. Now, will I spend 36 months working on your idea? No. It has to be our ideas. We all need to be parents of the idea, otherwise I'll be working for you. So that's why start innovation already in the ideation phase with a team. And make everybody ownership of the idea, right? That's important. So start with a team. Now, not only the workers, also includes top management. And normally they would be sitting in a steering group, right? You're the working group and they're the steering group. Well, the steering group is there only to say no to whatever the working group proposes. That's a steering group, right? Yeah, well, not all. I'm a bit exaggerating, but I'm Dutch, okay? Now, get the top people on board. And if they say, I don't have time, don't innovate. You don't have 7 days in your whole year to work on an innovation project. Innovation is building the future of your company, right? That's the CEO's task, right? So you as leaders should be prepared to join your team on an innovation journey. Why? Because it's the most difficult task there is, and you are the best men and women, that's why. Now then we go to the next phase. It's not raise ideas, it's observe and learn. Now, who of you has a car? Yeah, a lot of cars. There must be more cars because Istanbul is full of cars, right? Okay. Who of you has car insurance? Who of you changed his car insurance in 2014? Well, 10, 15 people? That's not so much. Who of you goes to the hairdresser? The barber, the hairdresser? Yeah? Who of you changed hairdressers in 2014? Well, 16, 17, that's not so much. Who of you is married or in love? And I hope both. Who of you changed partners in 2014? None of you. And you are the innovators of Turkey? When you introduce a new product, that means that the customer has to change his behavior. Why should I, as customer, change my behavior? Only if you solve for me your problem. I change hairdressers when, he messes up. Or I change my car insurance when it's way too expensive. So you must not look for... So if you want to bring to the market ideal solutions, you must first go out looking for problems, not for ideas. And that's what you use Observe and Learn for, to identify relevant customer frictions in the market. What do they struggle with? What do they don't find easy? Because there are the opportunities for you. There's another reason why this phase is the most important phase of the whole methodology. On which moments you get your best ideas. Now, don't say at the office because you will be lying. You don't get your best ideas in the office. You do it while jogging. Or you do it in the morning when you wake up, right? Or under the shower. Or in your holiday, right? You get your best ideas when you stop thinking. That's why all the brainstorms fail. Get together 3 hours and we must brainstorm. We always get the great ideas after the brainstorm. Now, Observe and Learn is important because you had a challenge at the kickoff, and then you have 6 weeks to explore. And you come into new territory, and then you get suddenly all kinds of ideas because there's a big challenge here in your belly. Ooh. And you write that down in an Observe and Learn little booklet. Right? And then when we come to the next phase is raise ideas. You don't have to raise ideas, but you can share them with each other from the whole team. And then you get an explosion of ideas. So we share them because then they become our ideas. Nothing special, 2-day ideation workshop, and then suddenly at the first day, wow, you get more than 1,000 ideas, right? This is from a workshop which was 2 months ago at 3:30 in the afternoon. Because Observe and Learn is like an arrow, and the arrow comes out the bow, and wow, you get all the time great ideas. And the second day, now, the essence is not to get, so you must have a lot of ideas, because it's quality by quantity. But the real quality of the brainstorm is, how do we pick the right ideas? That's the question. Now, by having your innovation challenge, you have the criteria there, and use your business intuition, then you can come to the right ideas. So in this case, they had the next day, the group cheered a lot, and they had 15 concepts. Why do you have to have a lot of concepts? Because, we don't know yet if these ideas are good. So here we are outside the box, 15 concepts. But the question is, are these good ideas or not? Now, you say yes, because but you love your children, you also love your own ideas. Now, who are the persons who can judge if this is the right idea? Customers. So don't go to customers at the end of the innovation funnel, after your R&D work. Get the testing up front. So, test ideas, that's the next phase. Let's bring these concepts to the customer and see what they will do. And they will slash and burn at least half of them. But then but luckily enough, you got 4 or 5 or 6 good ideas. And then you come to the last phase. The last phase is homecoming. Now, don't bring back ideas, bring back what I call mini new business cases. It are guesstimations on what's the customer friction, what is our concept. So what's the competition and how will we differentiate our product? What's the added value for the customer? Why would he change his behavior? The question is, what kind of revenues will it bring us first, and how do we think of the feasibility? Now, remember, we're only at the front end yet, but you must know about, okay, how long will this take? Do we have the technology in home? Do we have to look for partners or not? Those questions you will answer. And that brings you back. Now, I developed this journey because I was so frustrated trying to make companies innovative. Now, you are the only ones who can make your company innovative, so do it yourselves. Yeah? Use a kind of a structured process like this. In the meanwhile, so since the start of this methodology, there has been 35 successful implementations in any sector. That's the nice thing of the front end. You can use it to come up with ideas for industry or for services, or in healthcare or for governmental services, so that's nice. And research, it was scientifically researched, 10 cases in Germany, the Netherlands and Belgium, and it showed that the methodology doubles your effectiveness. Well, that's also said my intuition. If you spend more attention to the front end and you develop their business cases, you can focus on lesser initiatives which go faster through the innovation funnel. And that's important because the world is asking for more speed. So focus on less projects, but the projects which you do them better and more intensively. Right? So I'm happy to say that research showed that 2 out of the 3 business cases are introduced on the market, and that's great. Right? Then you raise your effectiveness. Now, I'm happy with one thing. I'm very happy, and that is I trained Nuretanus here in this methodology, and it's translated the map in Turkish. So I have the first scoop. I have now the map here in Turkish for you. So it's Tam Yolileri, Gözlem Yap Ev Ögren, Fikeler Öret, Fikeleri Testet, Ivi Dünüş. In my speech, I have 5 takeaways for you, and it are very simple lessons. The first lesson is never innovate alone, right? You can only do it together from the start. The second one, do it in a structured way, otherwise you get lost, or the business of today will win from the innovation project. The third one is solve a relevant friction. Look for the right problem to solve, then you got half the solution already. Use the voice of the customer already in the beginning. Test ideas right away with them. Don't be afraid of it. You know half is wrong, you only don't know which half. And the last one is, don't bring back ideas, but bring back business, okay? Because that's what we are looking for. And by bringing back a business case, you reduce the uncertainty in innovation. Now, I've been talking with you on the front end of innovation. Is that important? Yes. The back end of innovation is even more important. How do we realize those ideas, okay? Now, I'm not an expert on the back end of innovation. You may invite him or her next year. But there's one thing I like to mention about it. I found a letter of a girl of 8 years old who flew in an airplane for the first time with Qantas. And during the flight, she wrote a letter to the pilot. And this letter has a very important lesson for people who work in the realization of innovation, okay? I will read it to you. Dear Captain, my name is Nicola. I'm 8 years old. This is my first flight, but I'm not scared. I like to watch the clouds go by. My mum says the crew is nice. I think your plane is good. Thank you for the nice flight. Don't fuck up the landing. Love, Nicola. So if you start innovation the right way, okay, don't fuck up the landing. Is that agreed? Okay. Enjoy your expeditions. Teşekkürler, Istanbul. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. It was a great. May I ask one question? If we have an idea and we create a team and we start the journey, in which step and where we can judge it that if we are in the right way, if we have the right idea, because it will not be easy, but sometimes it's not the right idea, or it's in the team, there are some problems in the team. How do you find out this kind of negative things?
Okay, well, the first thing you do is start with a challenge, not with an idea. So start with a challenge. And then the most important thing is, in full steam ahead, observe and learn, to postpone your judgment. Postpone it. Don't judge. Don't say any negative things. You know why? You will have your present blinders off, right, if you judge. Now, the most innovative ideas are here and here and here and here, and they are odd. You think of them today, with your reference of today, you'll think them as crazy. If you judge right away, you won't see them, and when you see them, you will say that's bullshit, right? So postpone of judgment, that is the most essential thing in the first 3 islands, also with race ideas. Okay? That's when you learn. Stop judging. The future is different than today, so don't use your present reference system, okay? So that's an important lesson. Great question.
Yes, and I saw 3 astronauts, which they landed the moon nearly 40 years ago, or
1969.
Yes, more than 40 years, 45 years. So what do you think about traveling to moon? Is it a bad idea for today's world? Why did they stop to go to moon?
Well,
as an innovation.
Yes, well, it was a political question, right? It was all about politics.
Right? Is it?
Yeah, well, John F. Kennedy, he was just in power, and then there was the Pigs Bay incident. Remember that, the older ones, Pig Bay incident, right? And then Russia also launched the Sputnik 3 months later, and they were the first one in space. Wow, he had to do something. And what did he say? He held a famous speech. And he says, before the end of this decade, we will set a man on the moon and bring him back safely. So he had a big goal, right? Like your Innovation 2023, right? We have a big goal. And the whole American, yeah, it's a big goal, I like it. And the whole American travel to the moon was only about politics, only about proving that America was superior to Russia. And when they did that, the interest in the moon was lost, right? It was all government, right? So that was the real reason for going to the moon.
Thank you very much for joining us today.
Thank you very much.